The first update we have today is on Emily Simpson's candid admission about nearly leaving the Real Housewives of Orange County. Okay, so in this video, we'll be talking about how Emily was really weighed down by some intense mom guilt while filming, you know? It was specifically because her son Luke was dealing with a pretty serious long-term health crisis. It got so tough that, actually, castmate Tamra Judge recalled Emily asking her straight up, off camera, "Should I quit? Like, I'm thinking maybe I should quit." Tamra's advice was basically, figure out how to handle your son's situation first before making that huge decision. Ultimately, though, Emily shared it was her husband Shane who convinced her to stick with the show. His perspective was interesting. He felt if she quit and just stayed home, she'd be kind of giving in and preventing Luke from learning how to cope, which, you know, is a life skill since lots of moms have to work. Still, the emotional toll was massive, especially during the cast trip to Amsterdam. Emily admitted even Shane, who usually handles stress well, kind of lost it with all the responsibilities back home, making her feel like a shitty mom for being away. What really helped her through? Emily said the support from castmates like Gina Kirschenheiter and Heather Dubrow was absolutely crucial. They didn't try to give advice, just simple affirmation like, "You're doing the best you can, you're a good mom," and honestly, that's exactly what she needed to hear. So yeah, Emily's whole struggle really illustrates that tough balance between reality TV life and major family crises, and how powerful just simple, genuine support can be. Before we get into the next update, please make sure you've liked this video and subscribed to this channel. Okay then, let's move on to next update now. Next, we're going to talk about the latest bombshells coming out of the Real Housewives reunions, including a surprise text message and a massive episode accolade. So Andy Cohen, who's 57, recently spilled some tea about an unseen moment from the Real Housewives of Orange County Season 19 reunion. Get this, during a break, he gets a text out of the blue from former housewife Alexis Bellino, who's 48. And it's about the reunion seating chart, of all things. Andy's like, "Why are you texting me this?" Alexis immediately apologized, saying it was actually meant for a different Andy. Oops. Andy, played along, asking her opinion anyway. She just replied, "I think you all know what you're doing." This definitely got reactions from the cast. Tamra Judge, who's 58, chimed in that Alexis can be a little kooky at times. Alexis's name also popped up when Tamra talked about going to her wedding to John Jansen, 63. Tamra mentioned feeling kind of weird discussing it in front of John's ex, Shannon Beador. Oh, and apparently Alexis had heard that secret recording Katie Janela made of Shannon. Wild stuff. Switching gears a bit, Andy also had some major praise for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City cast. Heather Gay, Meredith Marks, Lisa Barlow, Mary Cosby, and Whitney Rose. He called their season 4 finale one of the best single episodes of television in Bravo history. High praise, right? He pointed out how their unique world, with the snow, Mormonism, and all their history, makes them their own universe. That finale, it was the Big Bermuda episode where Heather Gay laid out all the receipts, proof, timeline, and screenshots, showing that Monica Garcia, 42, was connected to that Reality Von Tease fan page. What a moment. So this was today's update about the latest Real Housewives drama and praise. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about the legal strategy surrounding Wendy and Eddie Osefo's fraud case. So, as you might know, Wendy and her husband Eddie Osefo were arrested earlier this month. The charges? Things like insurance fraud, conspiracy, even making a false statement to police. This all comes from an alleged staged home robbery back in April 2024. Now, things are heating up legally. Wendy filed papers on October 17th, asking for the charges to be tossed out, claiming an illegal arrest. And, interestingly, she's asking for a separate trial from Eddie. His lawyer followed suit with similar filings just a week later, on October 24th. Their defense team says, hey, these kinds of motions are pretty standard stuff in Maryland criminal cases. It's basically a way to push prosecutors to show their evidence and, protect their clients' rights. But that request for separate trials? Legal experts, folks not involved in this specific case, mind you, say there's real strategy there. Think about it. Separating the trials helps avoid that whole guilt by association problem. You don't want evidence against one spouse automatically making the other look bad, right? It also kind of frees them up to run their own defense playbooks. Maybe one tries to point the finger at the other, or maybe it just gives each of them a better shot at cutting their own deal. Despite all this legal drama, though, they're keeping up a united front publicly. Just recently, Eddie was promoting a pop-up for his cannabis business, Happy Eddie, mentioning products like Zen, Wen, and Wendy. She liked the post, dropped some clapping hands, fire, and kissy face emojis in the comments. So, this was today's update about the Osefo family's legal case. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about the latest on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 15. Okay, so Kathy Hilton recently spilled some tea about the upcoming season. She was at her annual holiday pajama party in Bel Air, you know, the one she co-hosts with her daughter, Nikki Hilton. Well, Kathy described Season 15 as, get this, pretty brutal. But she made it clear there's no Kathy Hilton drama involved. She thinks the tension is just super high because the cast feels very comfortable in saying whatever they want. Oof. Apparently, the finale event was particularly intense. Nikki called it very dramatic, and Kathy didn't hold back, calling it brutal. Seriously. And you know, after the trailer dropped, Kathy said her phone was blowing up. She got calls from cast members who were totally shocked by what they saw, saying things like, "I can't believe so-and-so did this." Yikes. Oh, and about the new cast member, Rachel Zoe, Kathy had good things to say. She mentioned Rachel came in and fit right in, and apparently didn't cause any drama during filming. So that's interesting. Anyway, mark your calendars. Season 15 kicks off Thursday, December 4th on Bravo. Sounds like we're in for a wild ride. So this was today's update about Kathy Hilton's preview of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 15. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about Mary Bonnet's claims regarding selling Sunset. So, Mary Bonnet, right, she's made some pretty strong claims lately. She's really giving us a look behind the curtain at the show, alleging producers staged drama, calling out Chrishell Stause, and even hinting about a castmate's breakup. Okay, so first off, she talked about that whole flower bouquet drama with Chelsea Lescani in Season 9. Mary says producers totally staged it. Apparently, this happened right after her home robbery, and she'd specifically asked them, not to blindside her or start anything because she was already feeling really on edge. She made it clear her anger wasn't even at Chelsea, it was at production for pushing it, constantly asking who's it from. Then there's the situation with Chrishell Stause before she left. Mary admitted she was really hurt, accusing Chrishell of using complete lies and trying to demean her character. She kind of speculated that maybe Chrishell was projecting, noting the attacks weren't just aimed at one person, but were just coming out towards anybody. It illustrates why some cast members would joke, "Oh, I guess it's my day to get attacked." Mary also defended Nicole Young against those drug use allegations, stating Nicole actually hates coke. She apparently told Chrishell directly that tearing people down isn't cool, that these are people's lives. But guess what? That part got cut from the show. And finally, she dropped a hint about Emma Hernan and her boyfriend Blake Davis. Mary said she wasn't worried for Emma and that they are not together right now, referencing some pretty serious claims made against Blake. So this was today's update about Mary Bonnet's allegations against the Selling Sunset cast and production. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about Lala Kent's response to double standard claims regarding Tom Sandoval and her rules for dating. Okay, so Lala Kent? Well, she's been getting some heat lately, people accusing her of having a double standard. Basically, fans were kind of confused, right? Why does she have this super strict rule about nobody talking to her ex, Randall Emmett, but she's still talking to Tom Sandoval after, everything was Scandoval? So on her podcast, Untraditionally Lala, she totally clapped back. She's like, look, there's no double standard here, because Randall, she called him a very specific person. She basically said, with all the really serious stuff and alleged legal issues surrounding Randall, her hard line just makes sense. She put it bluntly. If you mess with him, you're, fucking dirty. Kind of implying that whatever's going on with Randall is just way beyond what happened with Sandoval. And then she also talked about her dating life right now. She says her main thing is keeping her independent, happy, peaceful life. Makes sense, right? So she's got some pretty strict boundaries because of that. She tells guys her age straight up, this is just for fun. She's not looking to get married or have more kids. And get this, her rule for guys she hooks up with. They either gotta leave the same night they come over, or they absolutely have to be gone by 7 a.m. That's when her younger daughter, Sosa, wakes up. Oh, and super important, guys are never over when her older daughter, Ocean, is there. So this was today's update about Lala Kent's defense of her boundaries and her strict dating regimen. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about Christina Applegate's recent feud and subsequent apology involving the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City cast. So here's what went down. It all started when Applegate kind of slammed the RHOSLC women for how they acted during that recent Below Deck crossover episode. She actually went on X, what used to be Twitter, and basically called their treatment of the Below Deck crew super gross. Yeah, she specifically said she hoped they apologized to Chief Stew Daisy Kelleher and Captain Jason Chambers. And her other big issue, she wrote that it just was not cool how they didn't even acknowledge the crew, like the captain, the chief stew, first officer, even Chef Ben when they were bringing out food. Now, what actually happened on the show that got people talking? Well, you had Brittany Bateman openly flirting with Captain Jason, apparently while on a 30-day break from her boyfriend. And then Heather Gay dropped that bomb that she and the captain had fed around before. It wasn't everybody piling on, though. Lisa Barlow actually spoke up, saying, "Enough with the pile-on," and defended Captain Jason, feeling bad his name was getting dragged through it all. So, after all that, Applegate came back to social media to apologize to the SLC ladies. She admitted she was a bit shocked watching it, but then realized, hey, they're shooting a show too, right? And she did confirm RHOSLC is still her favorite franchise. And Captain Jason? He seemed totally unbothered by the whole thing. He just posted this lighthearted throwback pic with Whitney Rose and Heather Gay on Instagram, referencing Heather's famous line, "Receipts prove timeline screenshots." He also gave a shout out to Angie Katsanevis, praising her strength during the charter.